Hey y'all, welcome to Traveling with Faith. I just want to start off by saying, in case you didn't guess by my channel name, I love traveling. It is one of my favorite things to do, but I usually do it alone. Not because I always want to do it alone, which sometimes I do, but I just don't have a lot of people to go travel with because people are always saving money for something, or they can't get the time off, or they're going somewhere else at that time. So I do a lot of solo travel, and there's a few tips I want to give y'all for being safe when you are traveling solo. So number one, when you are traveling solo, it really helps to go to places where there's a lot of people, or where you know you're not going to entirely be alone. When I travel alone, I try to go to populated areas, sometimes the touristy areas. It doesn't always work like that. Sometimes I do end up in places where I am by myself, but those times are really rare. I'm usually in places where there's a lot of tourists, and that is because I don't want to end up in a dangerous situation. Here's the story. My first time I ever started traveling solo, I actually ended up on this beach, and there was nobody there except one guy. And this guy creeped me out so much, and he was following me, and I like practically ran to my car to get out of there. And it was one of the first lessons I learned, that when you're traveling solo, you don't want to end up on a beach alone with a guy who is following you around. So I always try to go to heavily populated areas now. Even if I'm hiking, I'll try to hike where I can see people. So I probably won't go to the backcountry. I mean, I definitely want to eventually. I'm trying to earn, I feel like I need to be more qualified to go backcountry hiking alone, but I'm working my way up to that right now. Right now, I know I'm not ready, so I'm not gonna do it. But try to surround yourself with people when you are traveling alone, but don't go to the back alleys all the time, or to beaches where there just is nobody, because it actually can be kind of scary. Tip number 2, travel in the daylight for the most part. Usually when I'm doing solo travel, I try not to be out too late. I will probably not be out past 10 p.m. And usually when it starts getting dark, I try to make sure, even if I am doing something where there's not a lot of people, I'll try to not be alone in the dark. My camera went off, so we'll just pick up where I left off. Basically, travel in the daylight when you can. Try not to be out too late at night. As I once heard someone say, nothing good happens after 12 a.m. Travel tip number 3. This one, I feel like it can be debatable, but I try not to usually let people know that I am traveling alone. Every now and then, someone will I'm alone, and usually people will see that I'm alone. Don't give away too much personal information. Don't let people know where you're staying, or if you are traveling alone. It helps if you do know someone, or not necessarily lying, but just don't shout it to the world. Oh yeah, hey, I am a single female traveling alone. Don't do that. An example of this was how recently when I traveled throughout Utah, I was solo camping by myself, and I ran into a bunch of people that I did not know, and they were all oh, are you with your boyfriend? Or are you married? Oh no, that's what they asked. The guy straight up asked, are you married? And I was no, I'm not married. But I am not gonna say, oh yeah, I'm not married and I'm just here by myself. I wasn't like that. And actually that question kind of made me uncomfortable, and I was ooh, and I kind of just walked away from them. Don't give away too much personal information. And also, oh yeah, and also in Utah, I told the people, oh yeah, I'm here right now, because obviously I was by myself hiking. I was yeah, I'm hiking by myself right now, but I have family that live here, which was not a lie, because I do have family in Utah. they weren't at the place I was at, but they, yeah, I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, I'm by myself and there's no one that cares about me here. So don't just like shout it to the world. Don't give away too much personal information. Oh, that leads me to number 4. If somebody is giving you the creeps, like, get away from them. Don't even risk your safety or your health or anything by like having a conversation with them. So like, for instance, this person in Utah that asked me if I was married, I wasn't like sticking around and chatting with them. Although it was like a family, so I didn't feel like, if it was just one guy, for sure, I would have like walked away really fast. But he was like with a whole family, so I didn't feel that unsafe. But still, it kind of made me uncomfortable. And so if you feel uncomfortable, like, just get out of the situation. Walk, run away if you have to. Like, don't even be ashamed of how you look, because I just feel like if you just get the creeps about someone, that is your intuition telling you like, okay, this is possibly an unsafe situation. But if it like something dangerous could happen to you in that moment, then you should get away from that situation. So like, when I was hiking alone in Utah and I just was by myself and it was getting dark and I was like, okay, I don't feel safe anymore. This is not fun. I need to leave. Don't just like do things to be brave and to be cool. You gotta think with your head. So if you feel unsafe, leave that situation. It's not worth it. I mean, you can always go back to that place with another person and travel. But I just think like, if it's getting dark, if somebody makes you uncomfortable, get away from them. Finally, number 5, my final tip is going to be, let people know your plans before you leave. I mean, it's kind of hard sometimes if you're like me and like sometimes you get off the plans and you do your own thing. I would say just try to give people or somebody a general plan about where you're going to be. Have them check up on you like maybe every day, just so that way they know you're alive and you're safe, and it helps you feel safe because you have somebody to report to. But let people know your plans before you go somewhere. I usually give my mom, well, I didn't even actually give it to her by myself, but like she started asking for my plans when I travel, and I realized like that is a safe thing to do. So I usually give her an itinerary of like, okay, here's where I'm staying, here's my plan for each day. I really want to go see these sites. Just give people a general plan and have maybe somebody that you check in with every day. Those are my tips for traveling solo as a female, or just as a person in general. But don't let the fear of traveling solo stop you from it. It is such a great experience. I love it. I like don't even think twice about traveling solo anymore. If I want to go somewhere, I'm gonna go there. Do it. It's worth it. Just be safe. Think with your head. Don't, be on your phone the whole time when you're in an area where you feel uncomfortable. Like, make sure you have a plan and that you're not traveling super late at night in dark alleys. It's not, I mean, sometimes you get lost and you end up there, but if you do, try to ask like somebody for help that seems like a safe person. And not just like a stranger, like go into a restaurant or something and ask them for directions if you get lost. That's just another extra bonus tip for you. I mean, there's never gonna ever be a guarantee that you're always gonna be safe in life. That's the thing that people think about. Like, when you travel solo as a female, people always think like, oh, that's so dangerous. But honestly, I mean, this world is not safe. You can get hurt doing anything, anywhere. You could be with like the safest people alive. You could be with cops and still get hurt. So your safety is never guaranteed, but I think that there are definitely things that you can do to be safer, or at least make yourself feel safe. Those are my tips, and subscribe if you have not already. I'm Traveling with Faith, and I'll see you guys next time. And I just totally almost poked my eye. Cool, that's classy.